You are standing in front of a low green hill in the countryside near Nara. It is wrapped in old trees, ringed by a still moat, and closed off by nothing more than a simple chain. A small wooden sign asks you, politely, not to come any closer. Somewhere under that grass may lie the body of the first person ever to rule the land you now call Japan, and the government will not let anyone dig. She was not a king, she was not a general on a horse. She was a woman whose own country, in all of its oldest books, never quite manages to write down her name. Everything you are able to know about her was recorded by strangers, foreign clerks, in a foreign language, in a kingdom she never saw, across a sea she never crossed. So how do you misplace an entire queen? Step back 17 centuries. The islands are not yet one nation. They are a scatter of small realms that the people on the mainland call Wa, simply the land of Wa, the Chinese word for the dim country out east. These realms fight. For decades they tear at one another, settlement against settlement, until something unexpected ends the bleeding. Not a warlord, not a treaty between men, a young woman who, the records say, served the unseen spirits and could cloud the minds of everyone around her. Her name reaches you as Himiko. You will not find her first in a Japanese chronicle, you find her in a Chinese one. Around the year 280, a court historian named Chen Shou assembled the official records of the Kingdom of Wei, one of the three powers that carved up China after the collapse of the Han dynasty. Folded inside that enormous political history is a brief account of the strange islanders across the Eastern Sea. It runs to roughly 2,000 characters. It is the oldest written description of the Japanese people that survives anywhere on Earth, and its central figure is this queen. The account is oddly intimate. It describes a people who dive into the sea for fish and shells, men with faces and bodies covered in tattoos, walking barefoot, eating with their fingers. The Chinese envoys reach them the hard way, setting out from a military outpost on the Korean peninsula and island hopping south across the water. They are not writing a fairy tale, they are writing a report. And the report keeps returning to her. Picture how Himiko is said to live. She never marries, she is almost never seen by anyone. She lives behind high palisades guarded by armed men, served by 1,000 women, and only one single man is permitted to pass inside, to bring her food, and to carry her words back out into the daylight. Her younger brother helps her rule the realm the record calls Yamatai. To her people, she is not really a politician at all. She is a doorway to something above them. Does that sound to you like power or like a beautiful cage? Then comes the detail that should make her simple to find. In the year 238, Himiko sent envoys across the sea to the Wei court. The Chinese are impressed enough to crown her from afar. They grant her a title that translates, roughly, as Queen of Wa, Friend of Wei. They give her a gold seal on a purple ribbon, and they send a gift you should keep in the back of your mind, 100 bronze mirrors. A real queen, a real year, a real alliance with the largest empire on Earth. This is not a ghost story traded around a fire. It is a diplomatic file with a date on it. So why can you still not point to where she lived or to where she lies? And if you think a gold seal from China sounds too convenient to be real, consider what a farmer pulled out of the soil of a small island near Fukuoka in 1784. A solid gold seal, cut with the words King of Na of Wa, a gift from a Chinese emperor to a ruler in these same islands, nearly 2,000 years ago, dragged up by accident from a ditch. The seals were real, the treaties were real. Somewhere, Himiko's may still be waiting in the ground. Keep reading the account though, and it turns colder. Himiko dies around the year 248. The record says a great mound was raised over her, more than 100 paces across, and then it adds one line that stops you where you stand. Over 100 attendants, it says, were sent into the earth along with her. Servants, followers, buried so that their queen would not have to lie alone. Why would anyone follow a dead woman down into that dark? What happens next reads almost like a curse. A king takes her place, and the country refuses to accept him. The killing comes roaring straight back. The chronicle says more than 1,000 people die. The peace returns only when the people raise up another of Himiko's own bloodline, a girl of 13 named Io, a child queen. And somehow, again, the war goes quiet around her. A sorceress roaring from behind a veil, a child whose silence is an army, 100 human beings folded into a single grave. You would remember a story like that for 1,000 years. So why didn't Japan? This is where the whole mystery should finally resolve. You have a kingdom with a name, you have the year of a death, you even have the dimensions of the tomb, 100 paces wide. Surely with all of that in your hands, the map simply closes. Walk into the Nara basin and a candidate is already waiting for you. It is called Hashihaka, the chopstick tomb,
a colossal keyhole-shaped mound of the kind the Japanese call a Kofun, an ancient grave. Modern dating places its construction in the middle of the 3rd century. The right shape, the right scale, the right moment in time. Stand at its base and it is almost impossible not to whisper to yourself, she is right here. But travel to the far other end of the country, to northern Kyushu, and a different answer climbs up out of the earth. At a place called Yoshinogari, archaeologists uncovered an immense moated town spiked with watchtowers and wooden walls, precisely the kind of guarded stronghold the Chinese described. The Kyushu camp will look you in the eye and tell you that Yamatai was never anywhere near Nara. 2 sites, 2 opposite ends of Japan, 1 queen, and the maddening part is that both camps are reading the very same Chinese sentences to get there. Because that ancient account does something cruel. It gives directions. It tells you to sail so far in one direction, then travel so many days in another. Follow those instructions to the letter, and you do not land in Nara, and you do not land in Kyushu. You sail clean off the islands and out into the open Pacific, somewhere in the empty water south of Japan altogether. The map does not close. It comes apart in your hands. And this is the moment the mystery stops being about a place at all. Because the deeper question is not where Himiko moved. It is why the nation she helped to seed spent the next 1,000 years behaving as though she had never existed. When Japan at last writes its own history, the Kojiki in the year 712 and the Nihon Shoki in 720, the 2 oldest books the country owns, the single most powerful ruler of early Wa, the one whom China itself had crowned, is simply not there, not disputed, not corrected, gone. The Nihon Shoki comes agonizingly close to her. Its compilers plainly knew the Chinese record. They even copy lines out of it directly into their own pages, and then they try to fasten the foreign queen onto a legendary empress of their own, a warrior regent named Jingu, except the dates flatly refuse to line up, and you can see the seams. It reads like someone retouching a photograph to paint out a figure who was very obviously standing in the room. Why would a young nation delete its own first ruler? Perhaps because of what she was, a woman, a shaman who governed by listening to the unseen, hidden behind a screen, her voice carried out into the world by one man. By the time the imperial court sat down to compose its official story, power was supposed to flow in a clean, unbroken male line straight down from the gods. A sorceress queen who had once bowed toward a Chinese emperor did not belong in that story, so maybe she was not deleted after all. Maybe she was promoted. Look hard at the most important single figure in all of Japanese myth, Amaterasu, goddess of the sun, the divine ancestor from whom the emperors themselves still claim to descend. She is female. She rules from behind a barrier, unseen, and in the most famous myth in the entire country, she shuts herself inside a cave, and the whole world drops into darkness until she is finally lured back into the light by the sight of her own face in a mirror. A priestess of the sun, a queen who disappears from view. Some scholars, and this is a theory, not a settled fact, so hold it gently, suspect that the memory of a flesh-and-blood shaman-queen like Himiko was slowly reshaped across centuries into the sun goddess perched at the very top of the imperial family tree. There is even a chilling footnote that some researchers reach for. In the very years around Himiko's death, real solar eclipses crossed over these islands. Imagine being the living voice of the sun on the morning the sun goes out. It cannot be proven, but you can feel how a darkness in the sky and a goddess hiding in a cave might be one single memory, told twice. Now bring back those 100 bronze mirrors. In Japan, the mirror never stopped being holy. It became one of the 3 sacred treasures of the imperial throne, a sword, a jewel, and a mirror. And that mirror is said to rest, even now, deep inside the grand shrine at Ise, as the very dwelling place of Amaterasu, a polished disc of bronze, the sun, caught and held in metal, the same plain technology a Chinese court once shipped by the 100 to a queen they had named the Friend of Wei. And the tomb? The low green hill where you first stood? That is the real reason no one is permitted to dig. Hashihaka, and the great mounds like it, are officially designated as the resting places of the imperial ancestors, and by law they are sealed. No spade, no opening of the burial chamber, which means the one object that might settle the argument forever, a gold seal, a carved name, a cache of mirrors from Wei, may be lying 3 meters beneath the grass under your feet right now. The answer could be an arm's length away, and the nation has chosen deliberately not to look. So here is what is left in your hands. A queen powerful enough to be crowned by the largest empire on the planet, and so completely forgotten by her own descendants that you cannot say for certain where she lived, where she died, or whether she quietly became a god. A kingdom that slides straight off the edge of its own map. A grave that the law itself forbids you to open. The next time you see a mirror in a Japanese shrine, angled to catch the light, understand what you may actually be looking at. The oldest unbroken thread reaching back to a woman China called a queen, and Japan for 13 centuries called nothing at all. So let the question settle on you, the same one the chain and that quiet little sign are really asking. If the proof is lying 3 meters beneath the grass, the name, the seal, the truth of who first ruled Japan, would you dig it up? Or are there some queens the world is better off never seeing?